I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see?
Like
I
I'm
am,
over
you
here,
are
and
me.
you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there's
said.
something between us that's greater than there.
Don't you
It seems
see?
like I'm over
am,
here, and you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something between
you
us
are
that's
me.
greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over
am,
here, and
me.
you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over here, and you're over there,
That's
but
what I
there is
said.
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over here, and you're over there,
That's what I
but there is
said.
something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you
It
see?
seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there's something between us that's greater than air.
Don't you see?
Seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
Welcome to summer worship for the Unitarian Universalist community of Charlotte. I'm Jay Leach, one of the ministers of this congregation, and I'm here today in a very empty, very lonely sanctuary, sitting in the space that on many Sundays would be occupied by members of our choir. I'm missing them, as I'm missing all of you. I recently had the sad task of calling Jerry Brown to inform him of my mother's death. He's one of my parents' dearest and longest-term friends, someone they first met when he was the minister of music in my childhood congregation. In time, our families became good friends, and we enjoyed many wonderful experiences together. In the conversation, I recalled to this dear man a particular memory. We were in an upstairs classroom in that large church. I was one of the little kids seated in those diminutive wooden chairs arranged in two half circles. Mr. Brown, as I then knew him, was standing in front of us leading our children's choir. My mom was off to the side, accompanying us on the piano. How wonderful from such a young age to get the experience of singing with others in a choir. I'd continue for years, never one to command the solos, but always able to hold my own, blend my voice with others in church choirs and in our high school chorus. These memories, all the way back to that faint flicker of a young children's choir directed by Mr. Brown, hold warm places in my heart now. As we continue our theme of celebrating community, today we invite reflections from our own choir members, those who have typically occupied these seats. They'll share how singing together and how singing together in our choir have become central parts of their understanding and celebration of our community. Another quick memory of Mr. Brown. For a brief time, my dad sang in his bucket choir, so named for those who could not carry a tune in a bucket. My dad most certainly qualified. Welcome today. Whether you are operatic in your vocal capacities or if you have more in common with my dad, a bit like the great comedian Fred Allen once said, the first time I sang in church, a few hundred people changed their religion. We welcome singers and listeners, choir members, and those of us who enjoy so much what they offer. And we especially welcome guests joining us on this morning. As we listen in on our opening song, members and guests may wish to go to our public Facebook page and post words of welcome. If you cannot be here this morning with me in this familiar space, I'm really glad that you are joining virtually. Welcome.
Hi, happy Sunday and good morning to everyone. We're the Hendler family. I'm Megan.
I'm Oliver. I'm Kai.
And I'm Greg.
We call this light before us in hope that we may always remain a strong community, working together to make the world a better place. When we are grieving or sad, when we are challenged, when we need help, this flame guides us out of the darkness. When we are cheerful, when we celebrate, when we accomplish a great task, when we return to a place that makes us happy, the chalice reminds us to share our happiness with others.
A few years ago on her NPR radio program On Being, Krista Tippett hosted a conversation with Alice Parker. In her introduction, Tippett said this: "Singing is able to touch and join human beings in ways few other arts can." Alice Parker, she continued, is a wise and joyful thinker and writer on this truth, and has been a hero in the universe of choral music as a composer, conductor, and teacher for most of her 90 years. She began as a young woman, studied conducting with Robert Shaw at Juilliard, and collaborated with him on arrangements of folk songs, spirituals, and hymns that are still performed around the world today. As their conversation proceeded, at one point, Alice Parker said this: "The voice is a part of us as much as our physical appearance is, and the customs that we have and the ways we use our bodies. So I don't wish my grandfather had any other voice. I remember him singing to me in a kind of scratchy voice. But that means grandpa, the way he sounded. So we each have a sound, and we communicate emotional states through that sound. States that are impossible to get at in any other medium. It's deep. Sound gives us what is behind the surface. Sight gives us the surface. What we miss," she continued, "when we don't have a song is the means of creating a community, of creating a whole out of a group of people. And it doesn't matter if it's a group of people in an old folks' home that can't really sing anymore, or if it's a kindergarten classroom, or a nursery school classroom, or a bunch of 7th grade boys who can be fairly hard to get to function as a unit. Wherever they are," Alice Parker said, "if you can get them on a song, you can establish a kind of group feeling that is really, well, it's exemplified at its most marvelous after a perfectly wonderful concert when the last note is sounded and you get that silence in the room, which is a silence of completion, which is the opposite from an anticipatory silence. but it just means that everyone, as if all of our inner ions have been scheduled to be moving in the same direction at the same time.
Good morning. My name is John Herrick, and I'm here with members of the UUCC music program. I've asked them to respond to the question, what does singing in a choir mean to you?
I'm Jane McLaughlin. Singing together with others gives me an opportunity to forget the challenges of the world. I always feel much more positive after singing together with my fellow singers. It's therapy for the soul.
I'm Julie Prentice. Singing in a choir for me is that you become one with the other people singing. You become a community, and choir is community to me, and that's why I love singing in the choir.
Hello, I'm Margaret House-Soper. I sing in the choir because it's fun. I learn a lot. I enjoy the people in the choir. It lifts my spirits. And the most personal reason I sing in the choir is because it's how I pray.
I'm Debbie Marr. The reason I sing in a choir is to enhance the meaning of the service for the congregation. By reflecting on the words during a rehearsal, the choir more fully understands the song's purpose on a Sunday morning.
I'm Janet Palmer, and I sing in the choir because I love music. I enjoy the people in the choir, and I hope the joy I feel in making music with them comes across to the congregation.
I'm Nancy Walensky, and I particularly like singing in the outreach choir because when we go to a senior citizen residence, we find sometimes that people can't even carry on a conversation anymore, but when we sing the songs from their childhood, they remember every word, and it's a wonderful way to reach into the community.
Hi, I'm Neil Sigmund. I love to sing in the choir because it brings me, it's good for my mind, my body, my soul, and brings me, and I hope everyone else, joy.
I'm Eddie Walensky. When I join a choir, it presents me with an immediate community in which I can share a musical, spiritual, and social experience.
I'm Tom Cole. Singing in the choir means to me accomplishing more in a group than I could ever accomplish on my own, being exposed to great music and great words every week, and rejoicing that they can fit into a UU service. And it's fun.
Hi, my name is Judy Love. A desire to sing is what brought me to the UU Church in the very beginning 30 years ago. I love making music in a group. There's a wonderful camaraderie. And the members of every UU church that I have attended have been supportive and loving. This is my community. I would not have a full life without our choir.
Hi, I'm Sheila Gallagher, and to be honest, I don't know how many years I've been an official member at the UUCC, but I do remember when I joined the choir 8 years ago. I had started attending services and I liked them, but I'm an introvert. And so walking into the sanctuary by myself on Sunday mornings was kind of like walking into the cafeteria by myself on the first day of middle school. I was feeling awkward and alone, and I didn't know where to sit, and I knew I had to do something so that I wouldn't quit coming. And there was the choir, sounding beautiful, and I thought, oh, I like to sing. And you know, the choir always knows where to sit. So I hate to admit it, but I joined the choir both because I do love to sing and also a little bit because it kind of solved the sitting problem. Well, needless to say, today the choir means much more to me than a chair and some sheet music. To me, choir is about the love of music and also being in the midst of a welcoming, diverse community committed to making music together. Our shared mission on Wednesday evening is to take a sheet of paper with a bunch of black dots and squiggles and turn that into harmony. And what happens on that journey from squiggle to sound relies on good technique, but it also requires that we understand each other as we find rhythms and build layers and connect to each other like musical puzzle pieces. Everyone plays a part, and it's a question of finding the right balance. And of course, the more time we spend together, the stronger our connection and the better we sing. And part of what makes this choir so special to me is that John both uses his extraordinary talent to make us better singers and has an equally strong commitment for building our sense of community. But singing is kind of like cooking. It's better when what you create is shared with others. And one of the greatest joys for me in choir is sharing the music. I am glad we sit up front facing everyone. I like recognizing familiar faces and being able to catch someone's eye and share a smile. I love the sense of spirit connection that unites us all through music. So yes, I have found much more than my reserved seating on some Sunday mornings. I have found a place where I can immerse myself in music I love with kindred spirits I value. It has been challenging and healing, and I have found my voice in more ways than one. Choir for me came at just the right time, and for me, it is still the best seat in the house.
Hi, I'm Jim Alexander. I joined the adult choir a little over 30 years ago. Although my parents were accomplished musicians, at the time I virtually knew nothing about music. For that reason, I was so nervous. For the first couple of rehearsals, I actually sat out in the pews. Wally Kluker was the choir director at the time. He and the choir members, however, were so friendly, they finally coaxed me to come on down. I am so grateful that they did. Singing in the choir has become really my spirituality, a large part of my spirituality and my sense of community at UUCC. Part of that is the camaraderie I feel at our Wednesday night rehearsals and at Sunday services. I have become close friends with members of the congregation over the years, as well as fellow members of the choir, including my closest friend and now my wife, Donna Fisher. Hi, Donna. On Sunday, when we're singing hymns, I'll look up and see the congregation singing, and it just makes my heart smile. I can't wait until we're able to resume live services again so I can feel that connection. The choir has sung a piece from a work of Shakespeare that has been set to music, and there's a line from that that seems appropriate. If music be the food of love, sing on, sing on. Sing on till I am filled with joy. So, everybody, stay well, and I hope to see a non-virtual version of you soon.
When we are singing, we are bound together. When we are sharing, we are free to be. Both in our singing and in our sharing, we are bringing change. We are making peace. Through times of trouble, through times of pain, we offer healing like a gentle rain. Both in our healing and in our caring, we are bringing change. We are making peace. When we are healthy, we can be our best. When we are loving, hurt is put to rest. Both in our helping and in our loving, we are bringing change. We are making peace.
I'm here with members of the UUCC music program, and they've been asked to respond to the question, what does singing in a choir mean to you?
Hi, I'm Kate Stroud, and singing in the choir means so much to me because it put music back into my life again. It lets me be part of something beautiful, and I've been able to make great friends.
Hi, I'm Paul Wilson. The UUCC choir is my musical home, and I get to be surrounded by all my wonderful and gifted friends while we make music that hopefully will help bring our larger UUCC community together.
My name is Lisa Lackey. I sing in the choir because singing together makes me feel connected in my soul like nothing else in my life. There's something even more special about singing in harmony together, especially with people that I know and who I love.
Hi, I'm Sharon Baker, and singing in the choir fills my heart and soul with joy. It allows me to be in the present moment with my fellow choir members, and it strengthens my connection to my beloved spiritual community.
I'm Rich Green, and the reason I sing in the choir is because it tells me that I'm still alive. And I'm going to continue to sing in the choir until I'm not.
Hi, I'm Ellen Holiday, and I love singing in the choir because of all the collective energy that we have together. When we have sung a particularly beautiful song, I just love how the energy feels and how joyful it makes me.
Hi, I'm Wendy Pond. I sing in the choir because it brings joy to others and to myself. And singing is one of the best ways I express myself creatively, heart and soul. And I just love connecting with John and all of my wonderful choir friends.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Allen. My relationship with the choir began before we moved to Charlotte about 4 years ago. Dale and I would frequently come down from Virginia to visit our daughter and her family. Whenever we were here on a weekend, I'd join Beth and Kat and Henry for a service at the UUCC. I loved hearing the choir when I visited, both what they sang and how they sang it. So after we moved, it seemed like a no-brainer. I wanted to check out the possibility of joining the choir. When I approached John, he was totally welcoming and encouraging, and that was the beginning of my being a member of the choir community. What I remember about my first rehearsal is, number one, John asked another alto to take me under her wing and get me started singing and meeting others in the section. And two, the many choir members that introduced themselves, welcoming me into the choir. A year and a half-ish later, Dale decided to join, which was a little like bringing together two parts of my family. There were extra activities, both social and service-related, that help build our feeling of community. One that I especially enjoy is our annual Christmas and Valentine's performances / sing-alongs done at local retirement and nursing facilities. This activity does me as much good as those we're singing for, and I think that's true for many of us. This is followed, of course, by a social gathering hosted by a choir member that is always fun and usually involves singing. I should back up and say that having been an instrumentalist for most of my life, I've always known that friendships grow from making music together. But I think there's another layer of community that comes from singing in our choir. There have been times when choir members have shared personal stories that tie into the lyrics and themes of our songs. Plus, selections that John chooses reflect the theme of each service, adding, I think, an element of inspiration and connection within the choir and with the congregation. I also think it's important to mention the amazing ways that John has worked to keep us together while apart during this COVID time. I'm one of those people who had never heard of Zoom, but now, with it, we're able to share music and time together weekly, which is both fun and comforting. And one more thing. It's tradition in the choir to sing happy birthday at rehearsal when a choir member's birthday comes around. That's not happening now, of course, but I appreciate being asked to be a part of this service focusing on our choir community. It's helping me to celebrate my birthday today. Thank you.
I had begun the hymn and was already into the first verse when I heard footsteps on the stairs to the organ loft, followed by a frantic-looking singer bearing the message, "You're playing the hymn too slow. Benjamin wants you to speed it up." The singer was a member of my choir, and Benjamin was our minister at the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia. The congregational song that morning was "Lift Every Voice and Sing," the African-American hymn by James Weldon Johnson and J. Rosamond Johnson, and it is often referred to as the Black National Anthem. What my friends at the First Unitarian Church did not know was that this congregational song was often a part of services at my former church, the First African Presbyterian Church of Philadelphia. And when the congregation sang it, it was sung with great reverence. And by the final verse, with the organ open full tilt, you could hear this grand testimony to freedom blocks away. Every religious community has a musical identity that represents its members and what's important to them. In the African American community I experienced, it was spirituals, gospel, hymns, and grand anthems. At the Unitarian Universalist community of Charlotte, it's a little more eclectic, but we know what speaks to our hearts and draws us more deeply into a given moment. And even though we may not personally resonate with a musical selection in a given service, we trust that it is meaningful to someone within our beloved community. The beauty and sometimes challenge of our UU faith is that we draw wisdom and inspiration from many different religious paths and ideologies, including music. Choral music has long been a part of my life. I sang in the youth choirs at my church and started accompanying school choirs at age 12. For me, this art form has become the epitome of what sacred music can be. It reaches down into the depths of our being and emerges as a no-holds-barred expression of who we are. And when we share that deeply unique and personal expression emanating from our bodies, minds, and hearts, we sanctify the shared moment. So, it was not only the lyrics and soaring melody of Lift Every Voice and Sing that spoke so deeply to the congregation of the First African Presbyterian Church. It was the act of singing the song together. In these days of COVID-19, when singing has been essentially banned and virtual choirs have become all the rage, I realize more than ever the gift that singing gives us. And I look forward to the day when we can once more all sing together as a community.
Welcome again to each of you, and a special welcome to those of you who may be our guests, who may have found this live stream for the first time, or perhaps you've been watching our services for a while now. We'd love to meet you, to learn a little bit about you, and to be able to share about our congregation. If you would like to be in conversation with us, you can start that conversation by connecting with our membership coordinator. Her name is Kelly Green, and you can reach her by email at Kelly, Kelly, at uuccharlotte.org. Visitors and members are encouraged to go to our electronic newsletter Currents, where you can find out much more about the current life of our congregation, about the activities that we are offering in support of our summer theme of celebrating community, about what is going on and how you might participate. Just as my voice echoes in this regrettably empty space, so too the concern that we feel for one another echoes out from this space that we share and into the lives of our members who are in particular need on this day. Our love and our concern, our prayers echo from this room just down the street from here, where Cindy and Lee Martinic are grieving the death this week of Cindy's mother. We hold you with love and in our prayers as you mourn. We continue to remember those for whom this space was so familiar, who we have lost during this time. We remember those of you who are grieving these losses. And we remember those in our community who have experienced loss in these months of separation. We're aware that we have members with physical needs and members caring for those with physical needs. And we hold you too with love and in our prayers on this day. Just as when we occupy this space together and we share words or songs together, the sound echoes from beyond these walls. So too the values we hold most dear echo in our lives out into a larger community. A community now struggling for justice, now struggling for equity, now struggling to make clear for the first time in the 4 centuries of our nation's history that Black lives truly do matter. We echo out from this space with our values of justice, of equity, of compassion, and of a longing for transformation. Were it the Sunday we would have expected, music would be played and we would pass baskets up and down these familiar rows. It's symbolic. It's our ritual. It's our way of reminding ourselves that we aren't the audience to life. We're the active participants. We are those life continues to call on with the question, what do you have to offer? We're grateful for those of you who continue to support us generously with payments on generous pledges and with additional contributions, aware that we can't give in our customary ways in this time. Thank you for your ongoing support of our community. Thank you. Ernesto Cardenal was a Nicaraguan priest, poet, writer, an active participant with the Sandinista movement in Nicaragua. He aligned himself with those struggling for their own rights, with those struggling in Nicaragua for justice. I share words today from Cardinal, words for our meditation and aspiration, the opportunity now to breathe deeply together. I invite you to receive these words with your eyes closed, by calming yourself, by listening deeply with your heart. The music of the spheres, a harmonious universe like a harp. Rhythm is equal beats repeated. The beating of the heart, day, night. The coming and going of birds of passage. Cycle of stars and maze. Mimosa which unfolds during the day and at night folds back. Rhythm of the moon and the tides. A single rhythm in the planets, atoms, the sea, apples that ripen and fall, and Newton's mind. Melody, chord, arpeggios, the harp of the universe. Matter is music. Matter in perpetual motion in space and time. Rhythmic hearts and stars. The universe sings, and Pythagoras heard it. The music of the spheres. Blessed be. And now, may we know once again that we are not isolated beings. We are not single notes, solo voices, but we are connected in mystery and in miracle to the music of the spheres, to the rhythm of the cosmos, to this community shaped so significantly by song, and to one another. Go with a song in your heart, the strong, unflinching song of courage, until we meet again.